Yeah. Okay, I think we're rolling here. Awesome, awesome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Career Lab Wednesday. I'm your host, George Miller, here almost every single Wednesday to help advance in your career. And the way that I focus on developing in career is relationship building, which comes down to emotional intelligence. So, that's the context that I'll be coming from. But I want to make sure that everybody knows that you can ask any questions that you have. Anything career related is fair game. I love jumping into any question about career development. I will probably tie it back to emotional intelligence, but sometimes there's a simple strategic thing, question about LinkedIn, that kind of thing that I can help with as well, just because I'm in this space a lot. So let me know. There's a few ways you can engage. I love it, of course, when you jump in here directly on Zoom. Last week, it was fun to be able to talk back and forth with somebody, talk them through some things. And if that is cool with you, then do that. Jump in here, talk with me directly. If you don't want to do that because it's broadcasting live, totally get it. You can type your questions into the comment section, and I will do my best to answer your questions through the comments. So you'll put a question in, I'll start to answer it. And if I'm getting off track, just let me know. Just say, no, George, I meant my question more like this, go in this direction. And I'll do my best to stay on topic with that. So, another reminder, you don't have to try to stay on topic to what I'm talking about today, about emotional intelligence topics. You don't have to do that. You can ask anything career related. I will have fun with it. Um, Feel free to interrupt me. Don't think you have to stay on topic. But I'll be sharing some today about emotional intelligence and about how this plays out into the career space. So what impact does you having more access to your feelings, how does that help you in your career? So, our topic for today is why your team's performance problems are emotional, not technical. Well, it's a combination of both usually. Is the underlying piece of it is not technical. If somebody's having challenges, technical challenges, and they're struggling with learning, the chances that the underlying issue are emotional are really high. So your ability to be in touch with your feelings while talking to whoever you're working with is going to be a big deal for how effective you are. So think of a recent moment where a team member's behavior left you puzzled. So like, you communicate an expectation and the way they respond has you being like, wait, did they hear me? Did they not understand what I just said? Or um it's confusing because they seemed like they really understood it, but then I didn't see what I asked for take place. Like, think about some kind of example recently where you were puzzled or frustrated by somebody on your team's response or lack of response. And I'll consider, if what if it wasn't what they did, but what wasn't being said? So what might somebody on your team not be saying to you? How might that impact their response? Think about in meetings. This is one of the biggest challenges that I kind of uncover with people, is that often in meetings, somebody is not speaking up. Maybe many people aren't speaking up. So you come in, you've got your agenda, you're helping the team walk through things. And then people don't ask questions. And there's kind of this empty space, and you may end up talking more. You may end up explaining more things, thinking, and well, not totally clear, and kind of reactively responding to the lack of communication. Oh, I guess I need to explain more. So you're talking more to your team. And you're thinking, well, clearly now I've hit this from so many different angles. Everyone's going to understand what needs to be done. And then you might say, any questions? And maybe nobody responds with a question. So think about that. And if you can relate, and if there's times when you're in meetings where that is happening, so what do you think the feelings are? What feelings are you having when you're talking to your team and you're not getting a lot of communication back? Or it's the same people communicating back? So what I invite you to do is to consider what feelings you could communicate to your team that might open the door for them to communicate more authentically with you. What feelings, if I'm in a meeting and I am feeling afraid that no one is responding, well, first of all, I have to be aware that I'm feeling that anxiety. Because I might just be going through the motions. I've prepared. There we go. And in that moment, what am I actually feeling? If I'm feeling anxiety and afraid of what's happening in the room, there's a good chance that I'm going to want to deny that I'm feeling anxious. And I won't even be conscious that I am feeling anxious and thus acting to avoid that anxiety. So my first step is to get more in touch with that anxiety and recognize it, just be upfront. And then once I'm more conscious of the feelings, I may have the courage, I may choose to have the courage to say, I'm feeling, I have some concerns. I'm not getting a lot of response. Woo! And then you sit back and watch what happens. So you're transferring that anxiety to your team. I'm feeling concerned. I'm not getting a lot of reaction here. Not getting a lot of responses. And you can watch and see, okay, who's going to pick up the response from that? Who's going to speak first? And then is the person who's speaking first, is it somebody who is trying to relieve the anxiety and ultimately diminishing what you need done? or kind of confusing it, or are they responding in a way that's helping move the agenda forward? Okay, so great. I'm getting some responses here. So at any point, yes, feel free to type into the comment section and let me know what questions you have. Let me check this one out. So sometimes the most powerful leadership moment comes when we stop treating people like productivity machines and start acknowledging their humanity. The technical solutions will follow once the emotional foundation is solid. Spot on. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Let me know if you have a question about that, about a way that you're working to implement that. But absolutely. I'll share a quick story about that. A VP I'm working with, at a certain point, they wanted to implement changes in the organization. And, they kept saying what they wanted done, and it wasn't getting done. And so what they did to establish rapport and relationship was to have little moments of one-on-ones. They were already in this in their role at the company, but they made a point of asking the people around them things about their life. How's it going at home? What's up with your pet? What's up with your kids? What vacations are you going on, etc. This kind of thing. And then as they were finding out about this person as a human, to your point, then what they were asking for started to get met. Now, that's not always an employee's job is to do things, and not every boss is going to, or VP is going to choose to be more emotionally intelligent. So I don't think it gives, permission for employees to say, oh, they don't care about me, they don't ask about me, so I'm not going to do my job. If that's totally your prerogative, if you want to do it that way, cool. Because you can also take responsibility and find out what matters to other people and find out what matters to your boss or manager or whoever. And you can also open that pathway. You can also open the connection more. And so it goes both ways. And as we find out more about each other, what matters to each other, well, then we're going to make more connections happen. We're going to want to work on a project together. And for a leader to understand that there's anxiety happening in the group, in the team, and to, instead of micromanaging and trying to tell every person exactly what you think they need to hear, training them to come to you with what they're initiating, what their concerns are, so that they're really handling stuff. That's the overall goal that I'm driving at here, is how do you use your anxiety as a bridge to other people instead of trying to suppress it. And so performance issues are often symptoms, not the cause, So if a team member isn't performing, to look at that as like, oh, they're not a bad person. Like they're not something that I need to fix. I need to be aware of what are the challenges that I don't know about. What are the things that I'm unaware of? And can I open up that line of communication? So I'd love any responses to this, any questions that you're having about something in a relationship, a work relationship that you've got going on right now. And to underline again, the importance of listening for what's not being said. In one of the groups that the coaching groups I facilitate, there's an assignment that people work through where they share about something meaningful to themselves, and then everybody else in the group responds with, do you mean that you are really afraid of the promotion at work, but it's ultimately what you've been gunning for, and you're afraid that it's not, that you're not going to be up for the task, but you're incredibly excited because this is the kind of challenge that you really long for. So we respond in some kind of a way that fills in what they didn't say. So we look for what wasn't said. It's a real skill. So when you're leading a meeting, being aware of the things that aren't being said and not trying to be the one to say them either, but being the one who can facilitate other people filling in the blanks. And to this comment, to the point of this comment earlier, a great way to set the stage for that at the start of a meeting is to talk about, I don't know, to shoot the shit. To like, what'd you do this weekend? What are you looking forward to? What matters to you? You're not going to say what matters to you, but like, that's what you're asking is, oh, what's this person care about? And so as a meeting has started, I was just in a Zoom meeting this morning, the first 5 minutes of it, we said, oh yeah, that's just all of us getting on and gathering and kind of getting adjusted to being in this space together. In that time, oh, how was the event you were at last weekend? Just questions like that just help us start forming the connections that will make the agenda that we want to run through go that much faster. So I love that you put that in there. And then once you're in, like, what are the things that are not being said? I got a good one from this morning where somebody was communicating what they were looking for in their business. And they did a great job of being specific about what they wanted. And then they started oversharing. And they started saying, I'm in this really kind of vague space when I don't know how to describe it. And they started going down that trail. And that would have been how everybody would remember them, because how we exit a conversation, how we enter and exit a conversation. Transition moments are so key. And so I saw that, and what I realized was, oh, the thing that's not being said is he wants affirmation that he's being clear. This is a new environment. So I jumped in and I said, that was great. That was such a clear, direct ask that you had. Fantastic. So I just jumped in. I saw and I took a guess like, oh, he wants affirmation. So I just affirmed him. And then that's how that moved on. That's how so people will remember that. And he got the affirmation. Now, most of us are not going to just come out and say, like, I want to be told I'm doing a good job. Although that's incredibly important to, like, I forget the percentages on this, but that is actually really important to a lot of people. I'm one of them. I love being affirmed. And I will go about trying to get affirmed in all kinds of indirect, passive ways. Just ask my wife. So that being aware of what's not being said can be really powerful and will for me, require me to be in touch with my feelings. Yeah, I was able to make that intervention because I was willing to feel uncomfortable and I was willing to take a risk and cut somebody off. It's like I saw them going into a communication that wasn't going to help. I took a risk, and they might tell me later, they might say, hey, like, stop cutting me off. And then I'll have that conversation with them. Oh, shoot, I didn't realize that mattered in that way. Okay, got it. What would you like me to do instead? So we can, have some meaningful conflict. All right. I hope that this is helping as you're thinking about how to communicate with your team. A few more things I'll throw out is, sometimes if a target wasn't hit, if your team had some kind of a goal and it was not achieved, instead of saying, you didn't hit the target, that needs to be fixed. Sometimes that's a perfect communication. When you've got somebody that is just on point and can handle it, you'd be like, hey, that wasn't achieved. Like, I want you to make sure that's achieved. You'll have people that do that. And then there's other people where it's going to be more effective to ask, what was in the way? And to invite them to share. Because if you've got somebody that you're struggling with where they're not hitting the markers that you need them to hit, and you basically need to know if they're not hitting it because they just don't take initiative, and if that's not something that they're going to learn how to do, or if there are genuine blocks to what's going on, if there's more information that you don't know. And that happens a lot where somebody will, you have an objective, you have a goal to reach, and yet there's things that are coming up on your team that are getting in the way, and they need help working it through. So you might need to pair them with somebody, or you might need to take a half an hour and really walk through how to navigate a tricky client conversation. Or you may get on the call and say, do you want me there? And that way you can watch how I handle this negotiation. So think about how your emotions can help connect you more to your team. We're coming up on the halfway mark, and I've got one comment in here. I'd love any more questions. I'll start wrapping up here as we're getting into this. I'll share a little bit more about some examples, but before I start wrapping up, there's a few things that you can do to stay engaged with me. I love it when you set up a one-to-one with me. I had a great call with somebody yesterday who was talking about how they're like, yeah, I went into ProFinder on LinkedIn. I don't know that they see it as ProFinder on their end. It's a service that I'm paying for. So I get a notification when somebody's interested in coaching. So they're like, well, you were one of the first people to respond to me. And then I had so many other people respond to me, and everyone responded. And I don't even know if this makes sense. I just want some clarity about my next moves in my career. And so I was talking with them, and I think it was just over 15 minutes, and 15 to 17 minutes on our call, I helped her recognize that the most effective strategy that she could employ to get the kind of job that she wants is to literally go around to offices in the city where she lives and have in-person conversations. So I, got her goals, and I've been doing this for a while. So I kind of recognize when people are making more busy work for themselves instead of just going for what they want. And, in a quick call, she's on target. She knows what she needs to do. And she's got more sense of clarity about the direction. So she, was like, I'm getting all this kind of input, and we were able to streamline it, bottom line, for what she needs to do to move forward. So I love just jumping on a quick meeting with somebody and helping focus and get you going in the direction you want. Happy to do that. And then if what you're really wanting is a bigger project, we can talk about what a coaching relationship might look like. Another example, somebody who's doing well in their career, and they're getting to the point where they're realizing that they're going to have to be more political, meaning people. They need more people skills. They are successful with public speaking already, like they can do that, but they're going to have to learn how to influence different personality styles. They're going to need to learn how to communicate in a deeper and broader way all at the same time. So that, that's not something that is going to be achieved in a 15-minute call or even a half an hour call. That's a longer project. So I specialize in that. So I love talking about that as well. If you are in a point in your career where you need more people skills, you need more kinds of confidence for yourself, more awareness in your relationships, I love talking about that with you. So go ahead and set up a time with me. And, if there's, I'll throw this out there. I'm running a group coaching program, and we're doing another month. We just finished up one in last night. And this is a really fun way to engage. It's group coaching where everyone is practicing new behaviors. So you will definitely be out of your comfort zone, and you will grow quickly in that group. So that's the EQ intensive. I'll go ahead and share that. I don't always share this link because, you can only start it at the beginning of every cycle. And so the next cycle is beginning next week. So check that out. If that's something you want to do, you'll get a ton of value from it. And I'm happy to jump on a call with you as well to just walk you through what that'll look like. It'll be a wild and crazy ride. So take a look at that stuff. All right. Well, I'll be signing off here in a moment. If you're feeling stuck as a leader, and even that, feeling stuck, that's not a feeling. If you're stuck, if you have reached a point where the things that you are trying to do are not working, and you obviously need to learn some new skills, then you're not alone in that. That's most of us. Most of us don't advance until we've kind of tried some things, gotten frustrated, and the quick fixes haven't worked. And then we'll kind of stop and take stock of what really needs to happen. And the emotional patterns in our lives. When I'm taking stock of, I got to do something different here, Every time there's a way that I need to be more present in me, I need to go deeper into myself in order to affect the changes that I want in my organization. And that is how I see career as ultimately spiritual development. We spend a lot of time in our job and in the interactions that we're having there. And when I see the challenges as opportunities for me to grow, for me to be more in touch with myself, for me to understand myself with more clarity, that helps me see other people with more clarity, helps me see where people are different than me and appreciate the differences. So take a look where you're at in your life and where you're running into the same thing again and again, and you need to dive in deep and be courageous. Courage doesn't, quote unquote, feel good. Courage usually means being present with fear, hurt, anger, and sadness. And where can you be more present with the fear, hurt, anger, and sadness in your life that will ultimately help you move to the next level of your development? All right. Blessings, everybody. Take care. I will be back next week. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. You can always reach out to me, book a 15, 20-minute call with me, and we'll take it from there. All right, cheers, everyone.